Okay. I was going back and looking at some things from my past, looking at things that I've created in my past, looking at things that I've written in my past, looking at things that even podcasts that I've created in the last few months. And do you ever go back and look at something from your past and you can connect the dot of, oh, I was there then, and then you feel where you're at currently and you're like, you see a progression. Like, wow, I've advanced, you know. For me, it causes a feeling of cringe. I think that's like the most cringe thing is like to go back and look at something that you wrote like a long time ago or something that you made in the past, and then you're like, I understand more now, or I get more now about this, you know. And I was doing that with my podcast. I mean, just going back and listening to some episodes, like, wow, I was like really, truly experimenting, like not even knowing what I was doing, not even know the purpose of why I was sharing what I was sharing, or not understanding why I was pretending to be the way that I was. And I say pretending because recording into a microphone with your true spoken, you know, what you truly think, saying what you truly think into a microphone is not easy. It's really not. It can be challenging because there's the problem of, is there any value in what I'm saying? There's the problem of, is somebody else going to understand me? There's the problem of, if what I say here right now, if this person were to watch it, would they feel like they knew me if they saw me saying it? There's so many audience members to conceptualize, especially doing a podcast, I guess, in this format by myself, where there's really no direct, like, who is the audience here? So you have to imagine an audience and think about who, you know, if there is no audience, it's almost like, okay, God's your audience. So what are you like in your personal? Who are you? I mean, it's like, who is the truest? What is the truest version of you? I almost feel like I'm getting to that with podcasting. And there's some episodes where I remember when I started doing the video, I don't like being on camera. I dislike it immensely. And I don't even know why. I mean, I'm you know, not to be super arrogant and annoying, but I look good. Like, I should want to be on camera, but there's something inside of me that doesn't want to, that despises a camera in a sense. And so I don't know what that is in me. It's something, it's a personal problem probably. I have, you know, I guess we all have our quirks, I guess. But anyways, I mean, I don't like being on camera. So when I first started the podcast and I first started doing the podcast on camera, I was like not being myself. I was like nervous and like trying too hard, just trying too hard. And that's really the worst, man. Don't you hate that when you just try too hard? Never works. I mean, guys, how many times have we tried too hard to get a girl? We know how that goes. I mean, even if you're in an interview for a new job, you don't want to go in trying so hard, you know? You don't want to go in, it makes you seem desperate, it makes you seem unconfident, insecure. If you're trying too hard. Yeah. And so when I first started the podcast, it was just the audio and there was no video. I wasn't trying at all. That was like just true streams of consciousness, just wow, my true self. And then once I brought in the video, I started getting self-conscious. And I started getting, there were, I mean, I'm not, and I'm recording this podcast because I felt cringe. I went back and watched a podcast and I'm like, dang, I'm cringe. And I just wanted to delete everything I've ever created and die in a hole. But I'm extrapolating. I'm not like, there was, let me see where I'm getting at here. I'm proud of a lot of my podcast. I'm happy with them. If someone approached me and said, I saw this podcast, my general reaction would be like, yay, that's cool. Like, I'm glad. But, I'm learning this, and there's some imperfect creations that I've made where I'm like, what was I thinking? Like, what was I thinking when I recorded this? This has no point, or I'm trying too hard, right? I think that's part of learning. You don't just get to start doing something brand new and be great at it. Is there anything like that in life? If there is, it's like a one-off thing. It's like, it's not repeatable. Is there anyone out there in the world that anything they try new, they're great at it, And then even think about that further. If there is somebody like that, we don't even like them, We don't even like people that are that good at that are good at a lot of things. We're like, because all it does is expose us. We're like, frick this guy. Why is he so good at everything? We had a guy like that in high school. I mean, I love this guy. I respect him a ton. I've been great friends with him, a really long time. But he was just perfect. I mean, just everything about him, he's just perfect. He was good at so many things. Smart, funny, good looking. Adults respected him. Everyone talked highly of him. But in small circles, if it was just, we'd be like, dude, F that guy. And it wasn't because we didn't like him, it's because we liked him too much. He was too perfect. He made us feel insufficient in comparison. So we talked smack about him to bring his status down so we didn't feel so bad about, our lower status in comparison to him. And it's actually useful to have people like that in your life. Or it's useful to, because that's what art does. Something of such a high, inexplainable value, a person of such high, inexplainable good and talent and competence, when you see that, it puts everything into perspective. It illuminates the potential that you have, and it calls out to you in a way of, okay, this piece of art is so mysterious and so much more than the everyday items. This piece of art is something unique and different, and it calls out to something deeper, and it makes you think, am I of the same value? Do I have the power to call out something deeper inside someone else? And I guarantee a lot of us don't feel like that. It's hard to be confident, It's really hard. I admire people that are good at things, that are competent at multiple domains. I really admire, someone that I really admire is Jordan Peterson. And I'm thinking, how does this man think so clearly? How does he communicate so properly? And how is he fearless? Why doesn't he have any fear? And I think about my situation. He illuminates to me, my inability to speak properly. He illuminates to me my awkwardness. He illuminates to me my insecurity and fear of speaking in front of people. So I'm drawn to that. I'm drawn to that. I think if people look at who they look up to in their lives, if they looked a little bit deeper, they would learn something about themselves. Because if you look up to somebody, it means that you want to replicate what they've done in some way. And in some cases, it's the thing that you most need to grow in. So these are just thoughts. And I've come a long way. I was pretty camera shy when I started, but the thing about doing something repeatedly is you just get better at it. I mean, you just get better at it. You get less awkward at it. You get more coordinated. You get sharper. You become more confident. You become more proficient. You become more efficient. I don't know the difference really in those two words, but verbiage. You get better if you do things more often. So it's useful to think about that. And where I'm moving at in my life, I am learning, even though the past 4 months, it's June right now, it's early June, even though the past 4 months, February, March, April, May, have been like very negative months for me as a human, like in my personal life, aside from this podcast, like as a human, my self-perception, my ability to do well, my confidence, my relationships, everything has been like, something's felt off the last 4 months. And today I just had a true moment of reflection, and I'm realizing how much I've learned, how far I've come, how much more capable I am at serving other people. In some sense, it's your duty to get good at something in your life. It's like a moral obligation to get good at something in your life. You have to get good at something that other people value. You have to become a person of value. That's intimidating. That's intimidating. I guess there's a scope of value. We all have some inherent value as human beings, right? That's like on the quarter or something, $50. It's like written on there like humans are valuable or something. But we have this inherent value as human beings. I mean, it's in the Bible. It's written about in the Bible. The value of our souls. But there's another layer. We all deserve to have a life worth living. We all are, not even that we deserve it. We all deserve a good life because we're here, because we're conscious. A good life, your life is valuable. We're not, we all agree that we should all value human life. Pretty simple concept. But beyond that, in our like modern day society, in our practical society, you have to become you don't have to. I guess in America, you don't have to. You could, screw off and, do nothing, and I don't know. But the point is like become a person of value. Even the garbage man. Remember my college roommate, Big Ugg, he used to say I was a trash man. He used to call me a garbage man. I don't know why he would do that, but it made me so mad. But like a trash man is an extremely useful job. Like the guy that comes and picks up your trash, he has value. Like he provides a value to us. It's a value that we take for granted, If trash started accumulating outside our windows, and in front of our doors, and like trash had nowhere to go, we'd be like, signing a petition to have more trashmen, So like you have to become a person of value. In my creative endeavors, it's such a deeper idea that I'm onto right here. And I say that humbly. I think it's an idea that could actually, if I could articulate it, if I could understand it enough, I can bring that value to somebody else. That's actually the idea right there. Is through my creative endeavors of trial and error, of writing, an idea, a concept. Let's rewind. Let's imagine I'm 23 years old and I'm writing out something that I really think is true to me, and I'm writing it out and I'm writing it out, and I'm going through the individual process of understanding, and engaging in that creative act, engaging in this individual thinking process of writing, in that process of doing that, I'm doing something that a future me can look back on and learn from. And that's the going back and feeling the cringe. It's like, you should feel some cringe. If you go back and look at something you did, a decade ago, middle school is a great example. Think about what you were like in middle school. Yeah, think about it. There's some cringe there. You're like, wow, thank God I'm not like that anymore. Thank God I understand more now. It's a good thing in a sense, Now, if you did something 2 months ago and you're looking back cringing on it, that hurts a little bit more, but you're allowed to cringe over yourself. We're all a little cringe, And if you don't think you are, then you aren't trying hard. Like, you aren't. See, I hesitate on some words. Trying. I don't like the word trying. You aren't experimenting or pushing outside of your boundaries of what you could be. If you feel super secure, maybe you need to do something outside your comfort zone, right? Maybe. What do I know? What else? Not even what else. I need to continue on this because this is so, like, you have to sacrifice and get good at something in order to have value in this society. You do, And in my creative endeavors, in my writing, in my music, I go back on my music all the time and I cringe. I don't even like it. It's self-fulfilling because it's like, I made this. I remember, when I added the hi-hat. This is cool. But it's self-fulfilling, It's like, I can be objective about it and be like, well, this, if I was at a party, I wouldn't put this stuff on. Like, I wouldn't play my own stuff. Crazy. I'm trying to have a good time here. I'm trying to enlighten the, if I'm on aux, I'm not playing my own music. Does that make sense? No one's listening. Dang it. What else? Let me take this idea a little bit further because it's so fresh. It's so fresh on my mind. This connecting of like, yeah. But anyways, through my podcast I'm getting good at being myself. As silly as that is to say in a phrase, like, I'm getting more comfortable and I'm understanding more about what effective communication looks like. Whether it's on a podcast, whether it's in my job, whether it's in my personal life, I'm like getting feedback from myself. Future Alec, you're going to watch this and be like, hey, feedback on myself so I can continue to progress and become more of where I want to be. We're all works in process. Says, we're imperfect and I'm imperfect. And I guess I want to just say that, like, to my future self, like, yeah, I'm really cracking through the fourth wall here. I don't even know what I'm talking about, dude. Yeah. I think that's, yeah.